Alright, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So, Hussein Farhat finally made a response to the second video from Anabolic Stick. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for that. In the previous videos, I talked basically about how, essentially, this whole situation has been a lot of just, like, stuff we already knew, just kind of rehashed. Like, the first Anabolic Stick video is basically just like, yeah, this guy's not natty, look how jacked he is. Then the second one brought forth some more interesting information with regards to like how he wasn't actually tested at the show. And then there was that whole thing with like the podcast where he admitted that he wasn't tested, but Hussein and Greg both used that as a reason to say he's natural. Now Hussein's gonna kind of talk about that, but like it's kind of sus. So we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna sort of give you guys my reaction and yeah, fucking subscribe. Also, internet people, y'all need to learn what nuance is, okay? I literally said in the video we don't have like definitive like proof that he's not natural, and people are like, what? You guys suck. Have some nuance. I'm not saying I think he's natural. I don't fucking know, but at the same time we still don't have proof, so we need to find out, and hopefully we will. And if we don't, who fucking cares? The life goes on. Anyways, let's do this.
Hey Anabolic Stick, I'm Hussein, and I want to bring you along to drug test Hussein, and I will pay for everything. So here's my offer to you again. I'm down to get tested whenever you want, and if I fail that blood test, I will give you a...
Alright, there's just a little preview, okay.
Show being a drug-tested natural bodybuilding show. Now before we get into this, let me make one thing clear. The whole reason why I started posting on social media in the first place was to inspire people to start their fitness journey.
Okay, cool story. So anyway, so the reason he brings this up is because, again, they use that as sort of like a defense, like, hey, we went to a drug tested show, therefore, like, obviously I'm natural because I was drug tested. But it turns out he wasn't actually drug tested at that show. It was a drug tested show that potentially could have done random drug tests, but they didn't. And he kind of said they did, but also said they didn't in the past. Let's watch.
Journey to help them reach their dream physique and to stay natural by showing them what I was able to achieve naturally. Basically, something I wish I had when I kept delaying my fitness journey as a teenager. I really don't like to post these drama videos because in my opinion, they don't provide any sort of value.
They make money, yes you do.
To the viewer, and trust me when I say that I've had multiple chances to clap back at people calling me out before, including someone who just happens to be mentioned in this exact video, but I decided not to until today. And you'll...
Because it's more views now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have anything against any of the parties in this whole drama. I'm just enjoying.
Understand exactly what I mean later on, so make sure you watch the whole video until the end. So yeah, today I'm going to be absolutely destroying every single person involved in this video, and I wish I didn't have to do it because, like I said, it's not like me to do these types of videos. But when people are straight up lying and coming after my hard work and my natural transformation, which goes completely against why this channel even exists, I have no choice but to answer. So yeah, today's video I'm going to be reacting and
just say views are nice. It's fine, man. You don't gotta justify it. Someone comes after you, you get to respond. It's just how it is.
Responding to Anabolic Stick's latest video titled "Hussein Lied About Natural Bodybuilding Show." Now here is something that is important to note. Before dropping this video, Anabolic Stick made a post on YouTube, and here's what he said. Just wanted to say that in the middle of making my Greg response video, I've been contacted by a very credible individual. All right.
I love the edit though.
Very credible individual. Keep that in mind. It's going to be important for the rest of the video. With some pretty damning information regarding Hussein Farhat. Not trolling lol video will be up tomorrow or the day after. Alright, so now that we've covered everything you guys need to know.
So spoiler alert, the guy that is the credible witness, as I kind of thought, is just well, at least in part, is just a really salty guy.
Let's start this video.
So I made a video about Hussein Farhat being a fake natty, which absolutely took off in the algorithm, prompting both Hussein and Greg Doucette to respond. When they both responded, one of the main points they brought up was that Hussein Farhat competed in a natural bodybuilding show, so therefore he must be natty. A guy named Sheriff Saad commented on my video regarding Hussein mentioning the natural bodybuilding.
I'm totally covering Hussein's camera right now. Sorry, bro.
The guy even told me afterwards he was on SARMs.
I don't know where to put myself.
Natural shows don't mean much.
Alright, by the way guys, this is the very credible individual that reached out to Anabolic Stick and told him that he had like insider information on me. This is the guy that has been training, from what he said, for 13. years naturally, alright? Keep that in mind. It's going to be important for the rest of the video. But this is basically the guy saying that I've been basically lying about the natural show.
I replied to his comments asking him to DM me on Instagram, and when he did, these were the messages he sent me. He showed me the picture of him at the same show as Hussein and said, "That was me at the show. Nobody was tested. It was all bullshit. I gotta mention, King Kong Classic has 2 days of competing. Friday is open, which means enhanced, and Saturday is the natural one. Me and Hussein both competed at the natural bodybuilding show. You get charged for testing, but they don't test shit. They put all that money straight in their pocket. They had a little room with a couple of women with water bottles."
I mentioned this before. I'm like, wouldn't it wouldn't it make more sense if you're gonna pretend to test people to at least like make them pee in the bottles? What's the point of having the little paying the little ladies to be there, and then or the little ladies, the ladies in the little room to be there if you're not gonna at least like make it convincing? You know what I'm saying?
Pretending they would randomly pick people to test them, but it was all for show because we had paid for it. But as far as I'm aware, nobody got tested. Furthermore, a guy that competed on the natural stage told me he isn't a lifetime natural. He didn't place well, but I don't want to mention his name, so please respect his opinion.
I don't know how you would check if someone isn't a lifetime natural though. Like, if Hussein passes a drug test, that's going to be the next stage, right? People are going to say, well, he's not a lifetime natty. And I don't think that's something you can disprove unless I'm wrong about that.
Privacy.
Alright, so basically here the guy is saying that he competed at the same show as me and that nobody got tested. And he also said that a guy after the show told him that he was on SARMs and he competed in the same show as me and Sharif. And then he says natural shows don't mean much. And then he proceeds to say that the King Kong Classic has 2 days of competing. The enhanced one is the first day and then the second day is the natural one. Natural, alright? And he said I did the natural with him and that we basically got charged for getting tested. You know, there was a $50 charge per class for the test, you know, the drug test, and that the whole show just put that in their pocket, alright? This is what the guy said. So here's what actually happened. There's 2 shows exactly like he said. There's the enhanced show and there's the natural show. Obviously, I applied for the natural show because I saw that it was like advertised as being drug tested. You know, I picked it, I was expecting to get tested, I went to the show and I paid, like I said, $50 per category and I did 8 categories in total, alright? Which means I paid a total of $400 for the show just to get drug tested. So tell me this, let's say you see 2
you're
shows,
rich,
alright?
so.
One of them you don't have a drug testing fee, the other one you do have a drug testing fee. If you decide to pick the show with the drug testing fee, you would obviously expect to get tested, right?
So, okay, that is true, but at the same time, it also depends, right? Like, I'd assume Greg Doucette would know how common the drug tests are, perhaps. Again, like I also do feel like it is a little bit reaching to say that, oh, it's a big conspiracy and Greg knew and like, you know, they did it on purpose just to make sure that, like, he could get away with being a fake natty and all this stuff, because it's like, again, this whole anabolic stick situation wasn't a thing when this competition happened. So they could have entered any competition that didn't have 2 different versions as well. So this does kind of lend credence to him saying, like, you know, if I wasn't natty, why would I enter the natural competition? Other people will say, well, it's because he knew they weren't going to test. But, like, what if they did?
I went on stage, won 7 medals in total, but never got tested. And the issue I have with this whole video was the fact that the guy is basically saying that I lied about the show being drug tested when it's literally advertised as being a drug tested show. It's not my fault if the show decided to cheap out.
So this is like that r/technically true. Like, I went to a drug tested show. Well, I mean, it's advertised as drug tested, even though I wasn't drug tested. So, you know, Hussein should not have said, well, I went to a drug-tested show then. Because if the show was a drug-tested show by advertising, yes, that's technically true. But he wasn't drug-tested at the show. So he shouldn't have said that. So, like, even if he's telling the truth, this makes him look hella sus. Because it's like, you guys know those people in your life that will, like, tell you things that they said that are technically true because they had this like little exemption but aren't. It's like when I tell my wife, hey, in the morning make sure you wake up on time because X, Y, and Z, and she's like, well, I did wake up and then I went back to sleep. Bruh.
Out and not test every single person that applied. That's why I chose the show. And just to give you like
so again, I'm trying to be like neutral here. So on his point, yes, he did choose a natural show. You could say, oh, they never test this and that. It's still a pretty big risk for him if he is a fake natural to do that in the first place, because it's like, what if this time they do, right? That's number one. But on the opposite side, it's like, don't say, well, I went to a drug tested competition, unless you're going to specifically say I went to a competition that I thought would be drug tested, but it wasn't. You need to give that full context.
Extra proof on the fact that I haven't been lying about the show being drug tested. Tell me why I said this on a podcast.
Was it a natural show? Yeah. Natural. Natural? Yeah. What was that? So they tested you? No, they didn't. No, wow. They didn't for that show.
Yeah, people were using this to say like, oh, see, he's lied and he admitted it on a podcast. Like, it would be pretty stupid of him to admit that it wasn't tested on a podcast and then come out and say I was tested, because he never specifically said he was tested at the show. He kept saying I went to a drug tested show, which again on his part makes him sound sus. So this aspect of the speculation that's going on is kind of his fault a little bit.
They say it's tested, but I didn't get tested.
So basically what you just saw was me on a podcast with Brody and Luke, to which they asked me
Brody and Luke are fucking jokers, by the way. I love their shit.
About the show, and they asked me if I got tested for that show. This podcast was posted 2 months ago, all right? This was 2 months ago, before the guy even first made his video. I had never been called out before, and yeah. I literally said on the podcast, and I made a joke about it, I was like, natural bodybuilding show. But yeah, basically, I was expecting to get tested for that show, which is why I picked it, but I never got tested. And it's out there, public, on a podcast, so
So now I'm wondering, did Greg say he got tested? I can't remember. Or did he say he went to a drug-tested show as well? Because again, like, the phrasing makes it implied that you were drug-tested at the show. If you say I went to a drug-tested show, it's implied that you were drug-tested. If you weren't drug-tested, you should say I went to a show that was supposed to drug-test, not knowing if I'd be drug-tested. I wasn't, but I took that risk. You should have said that at the start.
Do I find it unfair? I totally do. But as Sharif just said, there was literally people that admitted of not being lifetime naturals that were in the show. And he also said that they didn't even place well. So that means I was on stage with enhanced people that I beat. If everybody was tested at this show, I really think that I would have won at least one overall class. But again, it's not my fault. Like I said, if the organization decided to cheap out and not test every single person in the show, and again, your whole point of me lying about the fact that I was tested is absolute bullshit, because you literally have proof of me 2 months ago on a podcast saying that I didn't get tested. So that basically covers this whole video.
Yeah, that can be like changed, not changed, that could be distorted either way. It could be distorted to say, see, he was honest about it, or it could be distorted to say that he slipped, right?
That he did. Now, this is where it gets fun. So the main person backing the fake Natty accusations is someone named Sharif, a guy who's been training for 14 years and that lost to me at the show. And he's also the same guy who before the show made a Natty or not on me, where he called me a fake Natty and also called me a scammer.
Pretty much straight lying in people's face, and people are even more discouraged because then they try their programs and they're like, whoa, didn't get us anywhere. Straight BS. Hussein, yeah, I'm calling them out.
He basically said that I faked my transformation and that I wasn't getting any sort of results for my clients without any proof. Now again, fake Natty is totally cool. I'm kind of used to it at this point. I really take it as a compliment, no problem. But then saying that
I was gonna say, if he does turn out to be natural, like, that's a massive compliment.
Scamming my clients and that I'm not getting them any results is kind of crazy. And that was basically a few months before the show. And then what happened is we bumped into each other at the show whilst we were getting our spray tan. I didn't really recognize him at first. I'll be totally honest. I saw him, and the main reason, all right, I'm not trying to roast him. I'm honestly being honest with you guys. I swear to God, I didn't recognize him at first, and the reason is because he was a lot smaller than I saw him in the video. So, you know, he was really small. I was like, all right, this is just a random guy that's competing in the show, and he was acting extremely friendly. So I was cool with him, no problem. I didn't even recognize him. But then after we got the tan and we left, I got a DM from him on Instagram where he said, let's go, saw you this morning, haha. We all wanted to pee, best of luck, brother. So basically when we were in the room, it was extremely cool.
Were they sword fighting in there?
And I wanted to pee and he wanted to pee as well, so we just made a joke and he DM'd me that. So I was like, oh damn.
Interesting.
That was actually him. That was the guy that made a Natty on me, called me a scammer, and now he's trying to be friends with me, all right? And I also screenshotted the message and sent it to my brother because I thought it was really funny that he was acting all friendly after everything he said about me. And then at the show, exactly like he said, we competed in the same category and I absolutely destroyed him. As you can see here, I got first place and he got 9th at a natural show that we both paid to get tested at. Then he went home, ranted about his whole experience, basically said he almost cried.
I was almost gonna cry after after. Trust me, it is what it is. You know, the flights, I should never have flight. Never fly, man. Why did I fly?
And also in that video, he said I was a great guy.
And I'm not making any excuses. Even if I would have came in at my all-time best, Hussein, he would have still won. He looks amazing, and he's got the shape, the proportion, and he's a great guy. We spoke a bit backstage.
Why would he call me a great guy if he thought that I cheated in the show? Like, he just came out and said all of these things about me, the fact that the show wasn't tested. He also just released a video on me saying that I'm not natural. Why the fuck would he call me a great guy if he thought that I lied and that I was competing against him and cheating? Then
I mean, he could have just been trying to be nice or just said it off the cuff or maybe changed his mind. I don't know. It's not that deep.
After the show, what happened is I posted my show day on YouTube and on Instagram, to which he commented on YouTube, "Congrats bro, good meeting you, hope to see you at the show again next year." Why would you want to see me at the show next year if you know I'm not natural? Explain this to me. Come on bro.
Maybe the anabolic stick video is what made him think you weren't natural again.
Make it make sense. And on Instagram he commented, "Congrats bro, good meeting you, enjoy the cookies." And someone replied to that comment, "You made a natty or not video and he was one of the dudes you didn't believe was natural." And he responded to that comment and he said, "I know, I do believe he is now after seeing him." So let's be clear. First off, I'm not natty, alright? He made a natty or not before the show, said I'm not natural. Then he meets me in person, says that I'm a great guy, that he thinks I'm natural, and that he hopes to see me at the show next year. And now that the drama is getting clicks and that, you know, I'm all talked about, he makes a video on me again and says that I'm not natural.
So that is a good point. Like, this drama happened and now all of a sudden everybody's jumping on it, including yours truly. But it does kind of make sense that he would kind of flip in order to like capitalize on that.
Much straight line in people's face. Hussein, he looks amazing, and he's got the shape, the proportion. Straight BS. Hussein, yeah, I'm calling him out, and he's a great guy. We spoke a bit backstage.
This is the guy you choose as a very credible source. The guy changed his mind 3 times, and also now that I go on his Instagram profile and click on messages, guess what? He deleted the messages. So that's basically for Sharif. You're an absolute clout chaser. You try to be friends with me when we met up at the show. You DM me, you put comments on my page. I never replied to you because, you know, again, I'm not fake. I always say the truth. You're trying to critique me, say that I'm a scammer and that I'm not natural. Then we meet up in person, you're trying to be all cool and shit with me. What are the chances he's the one that comes out and talks about the show? Everything, this is God's plan. When you're saying the truth, God wants to favor you, and this is exactly what's happening here.
Okay, sure. Anyway, so there was someone else that said nobody got tested. I don't really understand why it's that important that we dive. Okay, I do get why he's going into this as much as he is, because like he really wants to destroy this, you know, again, quote, credible witness. But basically all this guy had to say was none of us got tested, which we know to be true. So it does feel a little bit like, and I'm not even going to say I blame him, because if he, you know, if he's pissed off, he's pissed off. It more seems like he's just kind of pissed off and wants to just like run this guy through the dirt, because like none of this has to really even be part of the video because he wasn't tested. So what he said was true. Nobody was tested. The other, you know, things that he said, oh, there were enhanced people and there were people on SARMs and this and that, like none of that is really super relevant because nobody was tested anyway, right? So this whole section of the video just seems like Hussein's just like, yo, fuck this guy.
So like I said, I have all the receipts, all the screenshots. You can go on my post. If you go on the post that I put.
But you weren't tested, so who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter if the guy's reliable because you admitted nobody was tested.
Posted LA dump, and it's a picture with Togi and Shizzy. You can find his comment on that post. Unless
Togi.
Obviously, he's probably gonna go and delete it now. But yeah, you can go and see it. I have a screenshot. I just took it. So yeah, bro basically changed his mind 3 times in total, and that's his very credible source.
But you weren't tested.
Come on, bro. Come on, do better. The guy also just dropped a video on me, like I said, and Natty or not, basically going over the situation. He literally says at the beginning of the video that he's hopping on this wave for the views.
As you guys know, the drama in YouTube gets more views, and it's a little bit sad
true.
Because you need to get on those waves of drama and stuff sometimes to get a little bit of views, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a difference between like talking about drama and like stirring it up, like for the specific purpose of getting views, I guess you could say. Like, if you're just gonna flip-flop about Hussein just for views, like your opinions shouldn't change just for the views, right? Like the topics you cover will change if you're trying to get views, but your opinions themselves shouldn't change. So, you know, shame on you, bicep vein man.
And he was right. It's his best video ever. It basically destroyed all of the ones that he's posted before. He posted 800 videos in total, and the video about me is his best performing one. So the guy is so relevant that he has to mention me in order to get views. And yeah, that was basically his very credible source. But now this is where it gets interesting. So after watching the video, I went to the comment section and I found this comment. We have Connor Sinan who said, if you want, I'll pay for any drug test for you since you can't afford to drug test Hussein. I'll have you overlook the whole thing. I drug test him myself, but since I'm friends with Greg, it may look fishy, so let's get you involved and make some content, bro. And then
yeah, so at this point, like, if they're gonna pay for it, like Anabolic Stick, he came out with all this shit, like, he's got to follow through, he's got to get it done then.
After that, he made a post on his YouTube, and in that post, there's literally an email where he says, hey Anabolic Stick, I'm Connor Sinan. I would like to get you involved in Hussein Farhat drug test. Basically, I can fly you out, or we can FaceTime or something, and I want to bring you along to drug test Hussein, and I will pay for everything, every test, and we will figure out if he's natural. I will make the money back with the content, so don't even worry about it. Let me know if we can do this. The reason I'm involving you is because I know you would never lie. So, now that we've absolutely removed this whole reason that you made in the first place, which was I don't have the money to pay for the test, Connor just said he's willing to pay for the test, fly you out here to Montreal, where I live, to do the test. So here's my offer to you.
Montreal? Tu parles français?
Again, I'm down to get tested whenever you want. You can come here tomorrow if you want to, bro. And I will get tested with you and Connor. And if I fail that blood test, I will give you $100,000. But if I pass the blood test, I want you to make an apology video and basically apologize for everything that you said. And finally admit that I'm not a fake natty. You literally have no reason not to accept Connor's offer now that he said that he'll pay for everything. So yeah, now put your money where your mouth is, and it's not even your money. Connor's gonna pay for everything. And
yeah, and if he does get tested, like, he has not had enough time to cycle off.
Come here to Montreal and test me. The ball is in your court. I know you're a big fan of giving the people what they want, and everybody wants to see this. It will do content for me, content for Connor, content for you as well, and
content for Greg.
Have the truth for the people. And you know, you made the first video less than a week ago, so I wouldn't even have time to hop off if I was actually on steroids, like you said.
I think you need at least like 3 weeks or something. I don't know about these things. I don't stab myself with needles in order to make my arms bigger.
So yeah, now that you have no excuse whatsoever to come and test me, I'm waiting for you, bro. And you know what? After we do the blood test, we can go have a workout together and just be friends. You know, we'll just call it a misunderstanding, because I already know I'm gonna pass the blood test, and people are still gonna call me a fake natty regardless.
So a lot of people have asked, why didn't you make sure that Hussein was natural before you sponsored it? Here's the answer.
1 in a million.
I asked Hussein to submit blood work with no notice. He did, and he passed. Every time I call out a fake natty, like Dalen Bailey, Michael Hearn, Ashton Hall, these guys, they don't submit their blood work. They just shy away from it.
So yeah, there you have it, guys. I won't be addressing this drama again because I feel like this is basically what everybody wanted to see, and we basically have it right now. And if the guy...
Yeah, so, okay. This whole thing with this drama, this is how I've looked at it so far. So people have always thought he was a fake natty. Anabolic Stick made a video that didn't really have any evidence other than, like, he grew too big. And people are like, well, of course he's a fake natty. Look how crazy this is. But there wasn't any, like, concrete proof. And when I say that, people in the comments are like, well, you're not going to get 100% proof. Well, yeah, it's called he fails a drug test, number one. Number two, the thing is, you can't make definitive statements about people unless you have the facts, right? Like, there's a difference between believing something to be true and knowing something to be true. You can believe with 99% certainty that he's a fake natural, right? But you can't definitively say that unless he fails a drug test, like Liver King, right? You can't just say, oh yeah, he is, I know for a fact, because you don't know for a fact. If you turn out to be right, great. But people have a hard time differentiating knowing and believing. So what do I think? I don't know. Okay, maybe he's currently natural and he used in the past. Maybe he's a genetic freak. I'm not that invested, but some of y'all are just brain dead. I don't understand how hard it is to understand the difference between, like, knowing something for certain and believing something. So with regards to this whole situation, we're gonna have to see what happens with Anabolic Stick. You know, if he does end up not being natural, I won't be surprised. And if he does end up being natural, I also won't be surprised, because at the end of the day, like, his transformation's ridiculous, but, like, it's not without the realms of possibilities. Like, he's not 270 pounds shredded. He's like 180, number one. Number two, a lot of people are saying, well, he hasn't grown a lot lately. Well, did anybody ever think that maybe he just, like, grew really quick and then plateaued quicker? Like, some people, they get to their genetic limit faster than others. That you know, that's an argument he could use. Another thing too is like, again, maybe he's not a lifetime natty. Maybe he's natural now, so maybe he passes the drug test. But then people are going to start saying, well, maybe he took it in the past, and that's something you'll never be able to prove. So, like, how important is this? Not as important as a lot of people think it is. Is it fun to watch and make videos on? Absolutely. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe. I'm going to do more fitness stuff that's not just like drama related. I actually have some diet tip videos and stuff like that, because if you guys are new to the channel, I did lose 140 pounds. I've been training for 10 months seriously, and I've made a lot of progress. I haven't lost any strength during the cut. Like, literally, I've lost 140 pounds and all my lifts have increased. So I'm going to talk about stuff like that. Yeah, we'll do more reactions like this too, because it's a lot of fun. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.